Puff has been so understanding with everything, so it's good.
So do you believe in love at first sight?
I do.
Was it love at first sight with your boyfriend?
It was a long time ago.
What makes you guys work?
Well, I think what makes any relationship work, if it is working, is, just not talking about it too much and just keeping it close to your heart.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here. Or right here.
When she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in, she saw Christopher Williams performing fellatio on Pop.
He's such a narcissist that he couldn't stand not being somewhere and not being seen. His whole life, his whole career was about him being seen in the public. It was about him, taking everybody else's dreams and making them his. And now, him nor his kids would profit from anything from Bad Boy or Sean Puffy Combs again.
So my excuse was, I can't be with you every day. I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm losing weight, I'm doing that. But in reality, it was, I was sick. I was sick of you. I was sick of everything that was going on around you. I was sick of having to cover up everything that you did. I was sick. Cassie spoke on it. She said, yeah, I jumped on it. I jumped in between it. That wasn't the only time. It was other times. And it was other people.
Time a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversation, that's a sign.
Just keep it, simple and plain, angelic, not really try to overdo it with the theme, but just, have it be more sophisticated and more minimalistic.
That's right you are. And please tell me about your look tonight. You look amazing.
I'm wearing head-to-toe Tom Brown, and I just wanted to be, at my Sunday's best, suited and booted. I always wear a dress, so I wanted to try something different.
And it's just like everyday life for us.
Easy. People say, well, why did you stay? Or why did you allow? Or why did you keep going? Why did you keep going to work? Why do you keep paying your kids school fees? Why? You can't just walk away. It's people that hate being sanitation workers. It's people that hate being police. But why do they still be the police? Because they got bills to pay. This is America, ain't nothing free. So sometimes you gotta stay places even though you don't want to.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you, can't wait to see 3 a.m.
Yes.
The controversy.
Yeah.
How can we get a tape of this?
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. I will email it to you.
Email me the whole thing.
Yes,
I love it. I love that you're constantly crushing the glass ceiling, or crushing the black ceiling.
Yeah.
You're one of the first.
And I'm blessed to be in this industry.
Yes, and you're blessed.
I try to blend it with my artistry.
Yeah, and you create that. I want to see that like tomorrow, 8 p.m. Send it to me at 3 a.m. in the morning, okay?
So this is Diddy's bodyguard getting arrested.
Stevie J was at the house in Miami when they pulled up Bad Boy style.
Nod to the Godfather.
God, look at you.
I had to give a nod to the Godfather.
But you're giving us a futuristic James Brown moment on the shoulders. Hardest working man in showbiz. Avant-garde. Is this your avant-garde moment?
Yeah. This is it. This is fearlessness. This is bringing a little bit of drama.
Wait a minute. Come up here, darling.
My avant-garde.
And bring this around so they can
This
see.
is avant-gardism.
Yes.
At its moment. Nails with, what are those?
What are the,
Straws.
What are the straws.
My God, what extraordinary. Did you come in a truck?
I came in the truck.
How did you pack this in a truck?
They stuffed it in the truck.
This is Rick Owens.
Oh, this is very cool. This is very cool.
Let me tell you something. If Diddy and fucking Stevie J was a movie, it would be The Vampire of Brooklyn.
Oh, man.
Diddy would be Eddie Murphy. And Stevie J would be Kadeem Hardison, the ghoul.
The sign of doing it over and over and over again, that's when it becomes a problem. You be like, so every relationship that you get in, you're violent in them?
How many times did you personally witness him be violent towards women?
Around 4 or 5 times.
And And was that all with Cassie, or was it Cassie and other women?
I seen him with Cassie, and I seen him with Kim Porter, his kid's mother.
You're not supposed to put your hands on a woman's way I was raised. And the only person that really put their hands on women really is men who have feminine traits.
I've seen them get physical. I've seen them get really physical, grab them up. It was one time that Cassie mentioned inside her lawsuit where she said she had to go over to the London hotel. I was the one that was checking on her every day at the London hotel. You know what I mean? And so I know that to be true. I seen them get into some wrestling and punching matches, and sometimes I felt like, what are you mad at? What are you upset about? Because it's a deeper anger when you hitting and punching a woman in that type of manner. And it's okay. It's understood if you have a problem with one woman and you seek things, but when you have a problem with every woman that you're dealing with, then I think that problem is inside of you.
Kim Porter, is it true that Diddy broke her nose?
Bust her nose, man.
Any man that put his hands on his mother or disrespect his mother, an ice cube in hell wouldn't last. On the way he feel about a damn woman. He'll quick to put his hands on a woman like that if he do his own mama.
He said, I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do in my building. And I just don't know, he was like, it's power, see? I can make a man, he said, if I can make a man suck my dick, I can make people do anything for money.
Yo, what's up, people? We is back. Another day on Keep It G News. Now, before we get in the video, make sure you like the video real quick for me. Comment, share, and subscribe. But in this video, we're going to do it a little bit different. So, we are aware that Diddy is on the downfall right now. Some people say it's warranted. Some people say Diddy been sliding down his path for a long time and he getting his just due. Some people think, I don't know what other people think. You feel me? I think some people look at it like, you know, we might need to fall back a little bit because we don't really know what's going on. You know, he could be innocent of some of these claims. We know we're not innocent of one, at least. And that was the video of what he did to Cassie, which in my opinion, I think was out of order, and I think it was no excuse for it. But I think we can all admit that there's been a lot of people that was associated to Diddy at some point, and they are attacking Diddy aggressively. Or they just looking for a payday, and they see this as an opportunity to fully monetize. So in this video, that's what we're going to talk, because there's three main people that have been vocal about Diddy since this whole thing went on. Now, it's a lot of guys, but I'm talking about three main guys. And that's Jaguar Wright, Gene Deal, and Roger Bonds. But, in my opinion, one of them guys is clout chasing to the extreme. You understand what I'm saying? And in this video, that's what we're going to talk, man. As well as the reasons why. Like, you got to listen to this guy when he speaks. I always tell y'all, man, when people speak, listen. You know, listen closely. Don't just fall victim to the words. You know, sometimes the words can lure you to sleep and you ain't paying attention to nothing that was said. But in this video, I'm going to point out to y'all this guy that I think is clout chasing to the core. And in my opinion, I don't think he really care about any of this stuff that's going on, unless it's involving him. And that's one of the things that I hate, is fake outrage. You know, people be outraged for the moment or be outraged because they have some personal agenda that they trying to get accomplished, not for what's actually going on. And in this video, we talking about Roger Bonds. Now, Roger Bonds was Diddy ex-security guard. I don't remember what years that he worked with Diddy, but I know he was around during the Cassie situation. And the way his name came up is Cassie brought him up in his lawsuit. But he did a video not too long ago with Dan's Project, man. Shout out to them. And in this interview, he actually alluded to suing Cassie.
Obviously, everybody's running down on Diddy right now for all the stuff that he allegedly did. And everybody's trying to get money. They see you hop in. They see Gene. And they think, it's just off for Clout. He's just trying to get a payday. What do you have to say to those critics?
First of all, I mind my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Gene. I'm not none of that. You're not gonna hear me get on here and come up with things or say things. I got brought into this by Cassie. You know what I'm saying? She mentioned my name in the lawsuit. So that's when I came out because like I said, I got daughters. You know what I'm saying? So when you mention my name in a lawsuit, which I don't know, we're gonna speak to a lawyer because I don't know if she used that as leverage to get the money she got, but I feel like she should have hollered at me and said, yo, I'm getting ready to put your name in this, da-da-da-da-da. Same thing, she know what I'm going through with my son, so she could have said, yo, I'm getting ready to do such and such and such. If such and such come through, I got a couple of dollars for you for your son.
Now, this video is 5 months old, so I don't know how many people seen it, but I just caught wind of it not too long ago. And I don't know how y'all felt when y'all first heard that, but I was like, wow. Like, this woman is a legend. All these things, some of them you've been present for, and he is worried about the money aspect. Like, why are you worried about her money? Whatever money she got, she deserves. But he is worried about her money. Actually said he might even pursue or talk to a lawyer about what can he do moving forward because he think that she may have used his name for leverage, y'all. Yo, what type of guy is this? And then once you hear his gripe with Diddy, man. Shit.
And did your son ever meet Diddy?
Yeah, my son met Diddy before.
And I know that there was like an instance where he did speak out, if I'm not mistaken, right, about this entire thing.
He spoke out, you know, and I get on that because I'm gonna be real with you. He know that if it was his child, 10 toes down. It wouldn't be no question about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be right there. I thought the bond and the loyalty would be reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? But he did speak up, did give me some money for the lawyer, but then he disappeared. And I'm like, you know, I gotta eat that. You know, I gotta understand that, but I'll never respect it. You know what I'm saying? That's where the loss of respect comes from. Because you ain't staying 10 toes down for money. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to put a cap on it, yo, what it's gonna cost? 100,000? Right. Okay, let's put a cap on that. You know what I'm saying? But 25,000 to me is like, I watch you throw that in the club. So some people will be like, yo, but that's not your business. Nah, it's deeper than that.
So not only did this guy basically allude to extortion of Cassie, and I told y'all, I think Cassie deserved this money. But the reason he is mad at Diddy was because Diddy only gave him $25,000 for his son's defense. Now, I talked about his son in the previous video, but I don't know how many people seen it. How many of y'all are actually aware what Roger Bond's son did? Because he speaks about him a lot. So you would think that his son was somehow arrested unjustly or the case is flawed, but that's not the case. That is not the case at all. Roger Bond's son is actually arrested for going all the way over to Africa with somebody that he met in jail to commit, allegedly, a murder. More than 12 years, 2 black American citizens have been locked up in an African jail, even though they had not been convicted of a crime. That a summary of events may sound like a terrible miscarriage of justice has occurred. That 2 men have been wrongfully detained in a place where basic rights do not exist. The reality altogether is more bizarre. Copious evidence of guilt ought to have ensured a straightforward trial and a conviction in 2014. Instead, the legal process has been beset by twists and turns, an escape attempt, missed court dates, a social media intervention by American hip-hop celebrity P. Diddy, protesting the alleged injustice, COVID restrictions, and a litany of legal challenges and obstructive delays. On September 6, 2023, the case was finally concluded and the inevitable verdict was delivered at last. The story of this extraordinary criminal case began on January 7, 2011, when the lifeless body of a 25-year-old white Namibian man named Andre Peter Heckmeyer was found slumped behind the wheel of a Toyota Land Cruiser on a quiet street in Namibia's capital, Windhoek. Heckmeyer had been slain with a gunshot to the head, and it's unlikely that he even saw his assailants before he was shot. But what looked at first blush anyway like a professional execution rapidly unraveled. The police quickly determined that the murder was in fact the work of 2 inept amateurs who had traveled over 7,000 miles to settle a grudge. Within hours of the crime, the suspects were apprehended and taken into custody. With his death, Heckmeyer was studying in Switzerland. where he lived with his Swiss girlfriend, Christine Breweiler. The previous year, the couple were in New York, where Heckman was then living and working. And it emerged that Christine had a jealous ex-boyfriend named Marcus Kevin Thomas. It remains unclear exactly when Thomas dated Breweiler, or for how long. But after the murder, Namibian police discovered that Thomas used a photograph of himself and Breweiler of his laptop's desktop wallpaper. In August 2010, Thomas broke into Heckman's New York apartment to confront the couple and was subsequently arrested. In jail, he met Kevin, sometimes spelled Kevon Darnell Townsend. On December 27, 2010, Thomas and Townsend entered Namibia and checked into the cardboard box backpackers guest house before moving to room 5 of African Sky Lounge in Windhoek West. The two Americans had begun their journey together weeks before, after Thomas put up $10,000 to bail Townsend out of prison. The pair then traveled to Helsinki in Finland, where they mailed a gun silencer and 2 gun barrels to Namibia, declaring the items as spare parts for furniture on customer documentation. When they arrived in Windhoek, they purchased the burner phone and set about trying to find Heckman. The two men had arrived with very little information regarding their quarrel's whereabouts. They only knew that he was in Windhoek visiting his family, who owned a restaurant called the Cattle Burn Ranch in the Meru Mall. They stalked out the food court, hoping to intercept Heckman there. When he failed to show up, the two men became impatient and began to ask random mall shoppers if they knew where they could find him. Heckman and his family began receiving text messages telling them that 2 Americans were looking for him. Although Thomas and Townsend were 2 black men in a majority black country, they made very little efforts to appear inconspicuous. The burner phone and SIM card they purchased would never be recovered, but the cell phone salesman remembered Townsend's tattoos, the 2 men's unusual accents and condescending manner, as well as remarks they made comparing Namibia's colorful currency to Disney money. According to witness testimony at their trial, Thomas and Townsend were also searching for a handgun. Namibia has fairly strict gun control laws. No one is able to walk into a gun shop and take possession of a firearm the same month, let alone the same day. So they asked around till they were introduced to Simon Muliakila on New Year's Day, 2011. Under their respective aliases, Mr. Cash and Mr. M, Townsend and Thomas told Muliakila that they wanted to buy a 9mm pistol to match the silencer and barrels they had already ordered. Muliakila was not able to obtain the type of gun they wanted, but offered to sell them a 7.65mm pistol instead for $1,000, at that time about $140. On January 3rd, the 2 men handed Muliakila a $500 down payment in exchange for a gun and ammunition, ostensibly for self-defense, with a promise that they would pay him the balance later. Heckman, meanwhile, wanted to know who was looking for him. Thomas and Townsend were becoming desperate, talking to an ever-increasing number of people in an effort to obtain his address. Multiple witnesses recalled Thompson and Townsend speak to them specifically about Heckman's whereabouts, while text messages record Heckman's interaction with people describing the agitated Americans in cautious inquiries. Eventually, they managed to get a hold of Heckman's phone number. Prosecutors believe the 3 men arranged to meet at Garsende Street on the afternoon of January 7th. It's in that quiet cul-de-sac located off of Main Road in Windhoek that Heckman was murdered. Thomas and Heckman then went back to Muliakila and paid him the balance they owed on the gun, plus an extra $300 for himself. When Muliakila asked what happened to the firearm, they told him they had to dispose of it because no one wants a gun that's been used. The 2 men then returned to their guest house and prepared to leave the country. By this time, Namibian police were looking into Heckman's final days and had already established that 2 black American men had been looking for him. They traced Thomas and Townsend to the African Sky Lounge, where they recovered the silencer, 2 9mm pistol barrels, 8 cell phones, and some marijuana. The 2 men were placed under arrest that same evening, initially on a charge of drug possession. The discovery of the marijuana was certainly convenient. It allowed police to keep Thomas and Townsend in custody while they worked on linking them to the murder. But it's worth noting that of all the criminal charges the 2 men eventually faced, 1 count of marijuana possession, 1 count of murder, 1 count of robbery with aggravating circumstances, Heckman's phone and wallet containing 100 Swiss francs were missing, 3 counts of contravening the Ammunitions Act, and 1 count of obstruction the course of justice. The drug charge was the only count in which both agreed to plead guilty. The evidence of text messages, cell phone records, a long list of witnesses willing to testify to the suspect's hunt for their victim, the testimony of the man who sold the suspect their weapon, and the discovery of a silencer and gun barrels in their luggage all provided the Namibian police with a clear-cut case. It ought to have resulted in a speedy trial and conviction. It didn't turn out that way. Delivering his verdict on September 6th, Liebenberg acknowledged that the lack of direct evidence linking the accused to the crime, but noted that the circumstantial evidence of their guilt was simply overwhelming. When considering the cumulative effect of evidence presented, the court is satisfied that the only reasonable inference to draw a conclusion to reach from the proved facts is that the accused person planned and committed the murder. What may further be inferred from these facts is that they acted with direct intent when shooting the deceased in the head with a firearm. Marcus Thomas and Kevin Townsend, Liebenberg ruled, were guilty of murder, robbery with aggravated circumstances, and illegal possession of a handgun and ammunition. Thomas is also found guilty of attempting to defeat the course of justice by stealing the police notebook in 2011. On October 26, 2023, nearly 13 years after Andre Heckmeyer drew his last breath, his killers were finally sentenced. Judge Liebenberg noted that Thomas and Townsend had displayed no remorse, and he sentenced them to 26 years each for murder. Of that, 8 years will be deducted for time served during the trial. Although they had been in custody since January 2011, Liebenberg reasoned that most of the delays were deliberately caused by the defendants. The two men were each handed an additional 4 years for robbing Heckmeyer after killing him, 2 years after which will run concurrent with the murder sentence. Thomas received an additional year for tampering with police evidence during the initial arrest. For their firearms violations, both men were given a choice of paying fines or serving additional prison time. For Thomas, that would mean an additional year in prison. For Townsend, an additional 6 months. They will almost certainly be deported immediately upon leaving One thing prison. that bothers me in the world today is, everybody is clout chasing. Everybody. And he alluded to that. I mean, the guy from Dance Project, I don't know his name, I apologize, but he even said that, a lot of people feel like he clout chasing. So he brought up the fact that, I was brought into the lawsuit, which is true. He was brought into the lawsuit. He was put on the forefront. But then he got on Instagram and started making all these videos, acting like he was going to drop some information on some things that he's saying. Didn't say anything. But now we got more information on Cassie. Now he's back speaking. It's like, come on, if you didn't care then, why care now? You understand? And then how you gonna be mad at Diddy when Diddy gave him $25,000 for his lawyer, for his son's lawyer? I mean, I guess he thought he was supposed to ride with him till the wheels fall off because that's what he did. But at the end of the day, if he was security, he was paid. Like he speaked about going to Diddy's son games, but I'm sure that was a paid appearance. Like, was you going for free? And then you gotta mention the fact that, what is your son locked up for? What is your son doing in Africa? Now, there's more to the story in Africa. You can watch the other video I did. It's a lengthy process of what happened in Africa. They've been over there for 8 years or something like that. Outrageous amount of years fighting the case, but at the end of the day, there's evidence. And what the fuck is your son doing in Africa anyway? Chasing somebody, girl that he don't even know. Like, come on now. Let's be real, at some point, Like, how he gonna be mad at Diddy? I think out of all the people, his claims against Diddy is absolutely out of order. You feel me? If I was Diddy, I wouldn't give his ass a fucking red cent because, what's the problem? It's like to me, Diddy fulfilled every obligation that he had to you. Like, we not talking about a situation like Jaguar Wright got going on. We ain't talking about with Gene Deal. Gene Deal said I forgot his exact reason why he decided to come out against Diddy. But it ain't Roger Bonds' reasons. I tell you that much. It ain't the same reason that Roger Bonds got. He want this man to basically give him everything he need for his son to come home, but your son crashed out, and I'm of the belief that, once people do certain things to crash themselves out, like, you can't get other people involved in that. Now, Roger Bonds is the father. Do whatever you gotta do to get your son home, but you can't be mad at another man for not participating in that shit when your son ain't had no business participating in that shit either, because that wasn't his beef. But let me know if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, I could be reaching, but his claims against Diddy bothers me. Because it just lets me know how far down this path of clout chasing that we is actually going. Like, this is almost delusional. It's almost delusional that Roger Bonds wants Diddy to help him get his son home when his son ain't have no business in. Like, who goes to Africa to commit a murder? Allegedly. Who goes to Africa to commit a murder? Now, I think his son and the other guy got 24 years or 35 years. Y'all can check out the whole video. But at the end of the day, y'all, if he caught that time and if he did these things that they saying he did, he might deserve it. Because that shit was idiotic and stupidity. Deserves jail time sometimes. And I'm going to keep it all the way real. But let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments. This is another day of Keep It G News.
Nigga can't do what I do, y'all niggas can't copy me. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep the shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G.